What are some of the more challenging aspects of a GRC like career or job?
Hmm. It's funny. Everyone talks about like getting in GRC, but no one talks about staying in. And we don't really talk about balancing what you need to know, how often you need to know, when you shine, when you turn your shine down. Like, we don't really talk about any of that. I think a lot of challenges in GRC is finding balance with that, and also just balance with business needs and staying on top of things. Like, and I know for an example, like on the job example, I know I had an implementation of something, I think it was GDPR. We had to do like an enforcement of data protection measures, right? So it was necessary to comply with the law, but they initially slowed down like some business processes, and balancing the need for compliance without hindering like operational efficiency required careful planning and communication. But it's like, at the same token, how would I know that it slowed down? Who do I meet with? Who am I collaborating with? Where are we getting this news from? How do I know the long-term information? So it's almost like, how do you stay abreast, not just knowing the news of GRC, but how do you navigate GRC? There's not really a regulatory way to navigate that. So I think that's just something that is challenging. Challenging, but doable. You keep reading, you keep studying, you keep taking courses, you keep updating on framework. I think frameworks is just big. Just as long as you update yourself on those frameworks and you apply and you do some projects, you'll be fine. And it could be high stressful. I think it also depends on your company. Where I work now, it's not really too high. I'm gonna knock on wood before I jinx myself. It's not really too high right now because a lot of things can be like woosod, like your meetings, depending on which ones you can record or you can't. Record your meetings, take your notes, do what you need to do, work on, just plan your time effectively. I think a lot of that comes from how you go about your GRC day. I'll say in a nutshell, how you handle your day. Because when I had to figure it out, I had to figure out what I want my schedule to be like. They just want you in meetings and they want the work done, but they don't tell you, of course, how to do it. You have deadlines and stuff, but you don't know. And it could become a high pressure environment for you if you don't plan it out effectively or you don't have a game plan. So that's pretty much it. I think that's the best thing. It has its own set of challenges from balancing, but once you navigate them and you figure out a plan, it's feasible. It's doable. It's not difficult.
Perfect. And you said a magic word while you're talking earlier, and I was thinking about it because I have these different calls, and I give them, and like at a high level, I'll tell them what they could possibly do for a project in
Mhm.
GRC.
Okay.
But from your experience,
Mhm.
what could somebody do, or what are some projects that they can do in order to show that they understand government's risk and compliance along with the frameworks
Yeah.
and things of that nature?
Yeah. I remember I was trying to find different ways to get a position. One job that I had was a contract job. And I just wanted some more practice. I know I was really scared because I know my last GRC was at that position at American Express where I was on that project. And then after I did technical recruiting, so I was between learning and that program, we had projects, but not like that. Like, I needed more. I would need more to speak to having a revised resume and having my bullet points. I need to speak more to that. So what I did was, when I went on, was it Indeed? And I just put in GRC, a company came up. I picked one. And then before or after I applied to it, I think I applied to it, and then when the recruiter reached out to me, I developed and created like a mock, like comprehensive risk assessment framework for it. Like, I just made it. I just made it for him. Very simple. I did a risk assessment based off information that I found on the internet. Of course, it can't be like really thorough and stuff because I'm not really an employee there. I don't know, but developing a risk register, using the template, tracking risks, making it up, just putting it together helps. It helps with anything. So when I had my interview, and after the recruiter and I met with the person before the hiring manager, I was like, this is what I can do. I created this and I saw this. I went to your website and I saw this information. And they were like really impressed. That was my first contract position. But they were really impressed because it was just something so simple. But I got practice because then when I got into it, I was like, oh, this is what you really need. Really, I did it already. And it just helped me put more projects and stuff under my belt. You could have a compliance management system, create a system to manage and track like compliance with the regulations and standards. So GDPR, CCPA, HIPAA, health hospitals are great ways to start doing your projects a lot. SOX compliance. I have projects for days. I give my clients projects. I give them projects and I do a lot of workshops. I know I wanted to talk about not here, but I'm just saying overall, I do a lot of them in my previous position, but I like hands-on workshops. So I do a lot of those. But developing any type of compliance management system to track compliance is good. Assessing levels and security awareness and stuff like that. Those are great projects to do. You're never going to forget them. You're never going to forget the steps that you took. You're never going to forget how you implemented it, how you found the information. It's going to stick and it's going to make it a lot smoother and easier when you get into the actual position. And then when you're in the interview, speaking against it and speaking about it, you don't have to say, oh, I created this project. You speak like you actually did the project already on a real life position, and they'll see how you implement it and they'll see that you know that foundational information, and then you're all set. So